Welcome to MCTV. It's your boy MC back at it again. What I want to talk about in this video is Canelo Alvarez. There's some talks going back and forth. Right now, Canelo, he needs to focus on Errol Spence, but there's obviously future prospects lined up. And just like him, Errol Spence Jr., the truth, he has a fight he needs to focus on ahead of him, which is Danny Swift Garcia. But likewise, he has future fights lined up as well, or potential fights that are in talk. One of those being Bud Crawford, but more notably Canelo Alvarez. Recently, there's been talks about them communicating and going back and forth. I think it's a big fight that everybody wants to see. It's actually one that I want to see. I really, really want to see Canelo Alvarez versus Errol Spence Jr. That fight's got to take place. It'll be a mega, mega, mega fight. Obviously, we want to see Canelo versus Jermall Charlo before that happens. That'd be awesome. But let's really quick specify on the Errol Spence fight. So, yeah, he's fighting Danny Garcia. Yeah, Canelo's got Callum Smith. But, Errol's at like, 140, 147. Canelo's like, 170, 175. Errol's fought up before. Canelo's fought down. Moved up and down in weight. So how can they meet in the middle? The 175, 145. How do you get, people are talking about that 160 range, but they're saying Canelo's the A side. So in other words, Canelo's going to have to drop a little bit of weight, or Errol Spence is going to have to come up in weight, and a lot of times these guys, if they're not training, they're probably walking around at a heavier weight. But Canelo and Errol Spence, they train frivolously. They train a lot. So I don't think it'd be an issue for Spence to get his weight up. A little bit of creatine, a little bit of water weight to make it easy for him to drain. It's legal. Some protein, great training, wonderful diet. And I think he'll retain all of his power. And Canelo Alvarez, if he's got to go down, he can cut weight, and he obviously knows how to bulk up and swell up. Some people got that body where their muscles have that retention for water and other things, and they can swell up and swell down as needed and as they please. This is a big matchup. I'm glad it's in the talks. Boxing does need this, for the sport to keep it alive. And we get to see Canelo Alvarez versus Errol Spence Jr. I promise y'all, that's going to be an amazing fight. Who do I got on that fight? I'm going to tell you, I got Errol Spence Jr. on that fight. And this is not just because Canelo's not my favorite boxer. Errol Spence Jr., we're going to see why when he fights Danny Garcia. Y'all tell me how y'all think this fight's going to play out below real quick in the comments between Spence and Canelo. But let's take a real quick look. Canelo, he's a little bit shorter, but he got a lot of output, a lot of boxing IQ, and a lot of skill. There's a lot of opponents he faced. But aside of that, let's look at Errol Spence a little bit. He's got reach, killer body shots. He's great IQ too, great footwork. I mean, these guys, it's going to be like, it's going to be a hell of a battle. That's all I can say. Y'all tell me who the hell y'all think is going to win in that fight if it ever occurs. Canelo Alvarez versus Errol the Truth Spence Jr.